Yes, I do.
We teased this a few weeks ago because they had the Cum Town reunion, which I believe their Patreon is still up just as like a museum.
Yeah.
Which I actually think is a good idea. I don't know. I'm sure there's some people that are like, oh, it's ripping people off that just don't cancel their credit card. I think it's actually a cool idea to be able to go back and find all that shit.
Right.
The argument against it would be, I think it's all on YouTube. But, pay the creators that made it, for God's sake. If you love their product, what's the problem with giving them a few dollars a month? But
if it's worth it. It makes me think that there's like a little crack in a door of it returning one day and they don't want to completely get rid of it.
Well, the reason I wanted to play these clips is you and I have talked about this a bunch. Mm-hmm. Remember, and Opie and Anthony had way more bad blood than these guys ever did.
Right.
But remember, like Opie and Anthony went through their thing where they were in a pissing contest on Twitter going back and forth. And then they called into each other's shows one day. And I remember listening to it. It was like almost creepy how they were able to slip back into that same chemistry they had for all those years without missing a beat. It was instant.
They started trashing each other's guests.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Voss was on, so Anthony just went right into that.
Yeah, in the curio.
Yeah. It was actually perfect timing. But yeah, this reminded me of that to a degree where it was nice to hear these guys back together, and then Party is like, why can't they just keep doing it? Yeah. But Cum Town, I think, is a good example. Like Opie would always say, like, the show was over anyways, man. We were already coming to, but I don't think that's true. I think they sounded good together at the end. Cum Town, you could tell they were kind of mailing it in a little bit and they were sick of doing the show. Mm-hmm. So maybe it is good to just pop back in every once in a while. But yeah, their chemistry, they eased right back into it immediately.
Special episode here. I got my old pal Nick Mullen on the couch. Adam Friedland might be here. He's actually in the living room taking a call. Oh shit, Eldon with the big guns right off the top, dude. Eldon's fucking got the fucking classic guitar riff.
That's probably gonna like cause an issue with somebody. They're gonna hear that and they're gonna fucking just pull over. It'd be like falling down.
Yeah, they're gonna remember. They're gonna come out being 18 and their life being like horrible, but like having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't imagine all the people out there who would slit my throat to be sitting in this chair right now.
Do you ever get like people after shows? Like, I mean, the people are like, man, Cum Town really helped me through a hard time. And I'm pretty universally, I'll say to them, like, well, I hope things are going better now.
Yeah.
50% of the time. Well, no. No, I guess not.
Not really. That was a nice solve for the first 4 years before you guys started phoning it in.
That's a great explanation of what it was. Like, I think it did help a lot of people through a tough time, because if you look in the comments, it is still to this day, like we did the History of Cum Town episode of Why You Laughing. Every comment in there is I'm gay or some version of that, or good to see you covering my best friend Nick Mullen. like there was such an association with these guys, because it did feel like you were hanging with your friends. So if you were in a dark place, that it was a very good escape for you. Because even when they talked about like politics and shit, sometimes it would border on serious, but then they would skirt away because Nick would do some character like Vladimir Putin, but he's gay, or so, it sounds ridiculous, but it was, I think, great for a generation of young men to escape when they really needed it.
We did just do that episode too. Of course, they come out with this right after.
I know. And at the end, I'm sure I said something like, why don't they get together? Damn it.
It's like you knew.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's the next clip here.
Oh, is this, I believe, if I remember right, this is Nick joking. And you can tell how times have changed a little bit. How Stavros is sort of outgrown his friend Nick. And in a way, it's sad, but in a way, it's like we mentioned Good Will Hunting a minute ago. I feel like Ben Affleck, and I'm watching, and Stavros isn't coming out the door.
Yeah.
Like, he's graduated from this a little bit, and you could tell Nick's sort of like, we used to joke like this.
I'm coming at it.
They probably would have gotten away with it if they just did it a little bit every year. You know what I mean? If they're
Good
like,
genocide he's
like
talking about.
one oven, they just did like a
Oh, you mean
just
like
a slow burn.
we're talking not metaphorical. You mean like
For real.
legitimate?
And we're back.
for real.
Yeah. I don't
Once
think-
a year. It's
I don't
like
think
it's
they would.
just 1,000.
I don't think I'm going to go on a limb and say I don't think you could do 1,000 a year
Thank
and
you.
get away with it.
Israel does it
Yeah, but that's not a
No,
literal
I think they did
every
about
year. They call it
50,000.
mowing the lawn. Dude, that's what they call
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I'm not kidding. Look up mowing the lawn.
Don't look
Israel.
that up. Talking about cookies.
That's what my dad.
So go to the next. You could tell Nick almost like feels bad because he's like, "Oh, Stavros doesn't really do that anymore." So play the next clip to hear Nick's reaction a couple minutes later.
I'm so
Aw.
I'm sorry if I got a little too spicy with the mowing the lawn.
No, that's all right, man.
Yeah.
What do you see? 'Cause
That is real though.
I don't know the phrase mowing the
Yeah.
lawn.
It's funny to see Stavros be the guy, like be Conan to Norm Macdonald. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's playing along, but kind of acting like, I don't know if we can do this, Nick. You know? There was also they were talking in this same conversation. Nick goes, he's like, well, you know, like I think everyone had one. Like I think Hitler had like one Jew that he liked, like the guy that made him biscuits in the morning or something. He was like, this one was all right. And Stavros turns over to Eldis, who he sees Googling, and goes, don't Google Hitler's biscuit Jew, Eldis. That really got me.
That whole segment was so fucking funny.
Hitler's biscuit Jew. And then we end our look into the latest episode of Stavvy's World with Nick Mullen and Adam Friedland. This is when you're like, fuck, I wish they just did this. Meet up once a month for half an hour and just beat the shit out of Adam for old times, because it really fit like a glove.
Right.
That was the show where I accidentally stood up to racism, but I couldn't understand what the guy was saying in
I
Melbourne.
don't remember that.
Yeah, they were like, wah, 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 and I thought they were heckling me like, you're a gay, you're a bug, whatever.
Right.
If you guys remember, the Melbourne show was like Comic-Con. There was like fat Hawaiian shirt guys. There were Adidas tracksuit.
Well, that would
guys.
happen a lot. It was like guys would dress up as one of the three of us.
All the little eerie guys.
I kind of think that we sort of just look like Australian people without realizing it.
No,
They were
guys that were
doing a
like,
Comic-Con.
they were trying to look like you. Like there are guys who try to look like you or me, and then some guys.
The
just-
little eerie guys would be like, yeah, so my friends also call me a I really identify with the Adam caricature. Thank you. Thanks. I'm so glad I got No, but yeah, in Melbourne, I thought someone was just calling me gay or someone were doing a bit from the show. But and so I was like, shut up, like you'll never be on Cum Town, and it got a huge applause.
Yeah.
And then I went back
Crushed,
to
absolutely.
no. But I didn't realize
it was. I mean, the way.
Shut up.
It was just absolutely.
Well,
And then
they
I
carried
went
me
back-
out
I
on
went
their
back-
shoulders.
Crushed.
Yeah,
I went back
we
there.
were there.
I went back to the hotel, and apparently, yeah.
He's laughing at something we were next to him for.
No. Apparently, they were saying like despicable slurs about Aboriginals,
Oh, interesting.
and I just couldn't
Not only did I
hear what they
crush-
were saying. But I was accidentally,
Actually,
yeah.
I don't even mean to. Destroy.
I was trying to say that I didn't actually
Cool Adam.
racism. I was
Yeah.
thinking,
The humble hero.
I hate myself. This is so us. This is so us.
Shut the fuck
This
up.
is so us. This is so us. I miss us. Shut up, Adam. I want to die with you guys.
The beginning of this show is so funny. Just they did about 20 minutes on the homo joke.
Yes. Just shitting on Adam, who thought he was destroying.
He bombed it at a
And
public.
what's hilarious, like I've heard Adam tell that story on maybe 5 different podcasts without Nick and Stott, like just when he's a guest on podcasts. I've heard him tell that story. I never thought anything of it. And it's just funny when he's with that, like on those podcasts, he gets away with telling the story and they're like, oh, that's funny. And the listeners don't think anything of it. And then when he's with Mullen, he's like, oh, I just fucking crushed him. I'm sure you'd the humble hero. Yeah, so the chemistry was still there. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it because it was good to get the boys back together. And I think they should do that like methadone or so. You know what I mean? Like, keep people alive every few months. Just get back together and do an episode.
Seriously, it would keep their Patreon like alive too.
Yeah, people would still subscribe for that.
Probably in full. If Stav came back once a month, it would like double, I bet.
Once a month, or maybe twice a quarter or something.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah. So shout out to the Cum Boys. I'm glad they're back together. I do always wish like they'd air the dirty laundry. Like, was Nick really mad at stuff? But I think like it seems like they're all cool now, so like why bother,
Right.
Like there's part of me that wants it, but I also get not doing it, I guess.
And like you pointed out, we kind of saw it.
Right. Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Stavros left for the right reasons, probably.
He's afraid.
Yeah.
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Kragers did it.